Have you ever found yourself trapped by the law in a moment you never saw coming? What if that moment changed the course of your fate forever? In An Arrest by Ambrose Bierce, we dive into the unexpected twists of authority and justice. Join us on Classic Storytime Hub as we bring you this reimagined tale, retold in English.
Before we dive in, subscribe for your daily stories. Now, let's go. Orrin Brower was a man on the run, and the weight of his actions hung over him like the darkness of the night. Having murdered his brother-in-law, he was now a fugitive, escaping the cold grasp of justice. From the cramped gray walls of the county jail, he made his move. Using an iron bar, he knocked the jailer unconscious, stole his keys, and slipped out into the night, unarmed, with nothing but his wits to guide him. His heart raced as he fled, but as freedom beckoned, so did folly. Brower, without knowing it, walked straight into the wilderness. This wasn't the same world he knew. The region back then was raw, untamed, and as unfamiliar to him as his own reflection. The night, thick with fog and void of light, swallowed him whole. The moon was hidden, the stars invisible, leaving Brower to stumble through the forest, lost and vulnerable. The ground beneath his feet felt foreign, the trees too dense, the shadows too deep. Was he running away from the town, or had he circled back toward it? The uncertainty gnawed at him. What he did know was this: there were men after him, men who would stop at nothing to bring him down, and soon enough bloodhounds would be trailing his scent. But even so, Brower couldn't resist the pull of freedom. Every minute, every second he managed to stay ahead was a victory. The world outside the prison had a bitter taste, but it was his, and he was determined to savor it for as long as he could. Brower stumbled out of the forest, breathless, into an old abandoned road. There, barely visible in the gloom, stood a figure, motionless like a shadow caught in time. His blood ran cold. It was too late to turn back now. One wrong move and he knew, as he would later put it, I'd be filled with buckshot. They stood there, still as statues in the eerie silence. Brower's heart pounded in his chest, each beat like a drum of doom. His every breath was shallow, as if the weight of his escape was choking him. The other man? His thoughts, his emotions, remained a mystery, lost to the night. Then, out of the void, the moon broke through the clouds, casting a silver glow over the scene. For a fleeting moment, Brower saw it clearly. The figure, now revealed as a lawman, raised his arm and pointed, straight ahead and beyond him. The message was unmistakable. Without a word, Brower turned his back to the man. Every nerve in his body screamed to run, to escape, but he dared not. His feet moved slowly, as if the air itself was too thick to cut through. He kept his gaze straight ahead, not daring to glance to the sides, his heart racing with the haunting feeling of imminent danger. The prophecy of buckshot echoed in his mind, each step heavier than the last. Orrin Brower was no stranger to danger. In fact, he'd embraced it. The chilling calm with which he had murdered his brother-in-law spoke volumes about his courage, or perhaps his indifference to fear. The circumstances surrounding the murder were gruesome, but they weren't important now. What mattered was that in the face of certain death, Brower had remained composed. In court, that cold composure almost earned him his freedom. But in the end, courage or not, when a man like Brower is caught, he submits. The journey back to the jail was inevitable. Brower trudged along the weathered road, flanked by the woods that seemed to close in around him. He didn't speak. The silence between him and his captor was thick, heavy with the weight of what had already happened and what was still to come. There was only one moment, just a single breath, where Brower risked a glance behind him. It was in the dark, deep shadows of the woods, where he knew the lawman, the one who had once been his jailer, was exposed to the full light of the moon. Brower's eyes flicked to him for the briefest instant, just long enough to recognize Burton Duff, the jailer, looking as pale as a corpse. The mark of the iron bar was still visible on his forehead, a dark, livid reminder of their violent past. Brower didn't feel a need to look again. His curiosity had died with that single glance. As Brower and his captor neared the town, the lights flickered in the distance, casting an eerie glow over the empty streets. The town was alive with light, but there was no sign of life. The streets were empty, except for the women and children hidden away in their homes, too afraid to show their faces. Without hesitation, Brower's steps were steady, purposeful. He didn't look around, didn't let the emptiness rattle him. His path was clear, the jail. He moved toward it as if it were his destination all along, like it had been inevitable from the moment he'd escaped. When he reached the heavy iron door, his hand brushed the cold knob. No command, no warning. With the ease of a man who had nothing to lose, he turned the handle and stepped inside. The air inside the jail was thick with the smell of iron and stale stone. His eyes adjusted quickly to the dim light. There, standing in the heart of the room, were half a dozen armed men, their faces stoic, their weapons ready. But no one moved. No one spoke. Brower turned around just once. He expected to see his captor behind him, but the door swung shut, and there was no one else. And then, in the dim light of the corridor, he saw it. On a table, covered in a grim silence, lay the body of Burton Duff, the jailer. The same man who had once held the keys to his fate. Now he lay there lifeless, a stark reminder of everything that had come before.
And thus the story ended. If you liked this journey into the worlds of classic literature, do not forget to support us by subscribing so we can tell you more. And hey, if there's a classic tale you'd love to hear told in this suspenseful style, drop its name in the comments below. Your suggestion might be our next chilling adventure.